3 lights then, 4 lights, and 5. It's lights out, and away we go. Mark Webber gets away quite well. Alonso switches to the right-hand side to try and get past his teammate. Great battle between the 2 Ferraris. Sebastian Vettel noses ahead of his teammate Mark Webber, then locks up his brakes. Felipe Massa might get into second, and there's contact behind, and that's Sergio Perez going on. At the first chicane, there's Jenson Button, his teammate, and also Paul di Resta trying to thread their way through the speed bumps as well, and Sergio Perez going very slowly indeed. Now, whilst Fernando Alonso lines up the Red Bull of Mark Webber to try and get the pass done through Curva Grande, almost getting alongside him, but into the second chicane, Mark Webber holds 3rd place.
Webber had a brilliant getaway. The second phase wasn't quite so strong, but Red Bull was so busy fighting each other, the Ferraris came at them.
And also Adrian Sutil having a little bit of a problem going through the second chicane there, as now into the Lesmos we go. Paul di Resta has gone off in the Force India. Now Sebastian Vettel leads Felipe Massa, leads Mark Webber, then Fernando Alonso, Nico Hülkenberg and Nico Rosberg. Lewis Hamilton still behind Kimi Raikkonen, but he's ahead of his former teammate Jenson Button, who's now down into 12th place.
Dream start for Felipe Massa, and another incident then for Paul di Resta. He had brake failure through practice, and an awful day, and that's just confirmed a really dark period there, isn't it, for Paul di Resta just recently.
Car has been slow in a straight line. He went off at the Parabolica. He's gone off at the second chicane as well, and Paul di Resta's race is ruined. And here's Kimi Raikkonen and Lewis Hamilton now going into the Parabolica. Hamilton ahead of Kimi Raikkonen. Now Jenson Button pressurising the fin too.
Raikkonen's lost part of his front wing on the right-hand side, and he goes straight for the pits.
Kimi Raikkonen, who retired from the race in Spa, is into the pits then at the end of this first lap, and you can see right-hand side of that front wing end plate is missing as Nico Rosberg puts pressure on Nico Hülkenberg going into the chicane. Hülkenberg's teammate Esteban Gutierrez and Pastor Maldonado was going side by side, and Maldonado just clips Adrian Sutil there and throws him slightly offline.
Yeah, he sort of put his car into a wedge that was always going to disappear there, Maldonado. Sutil turning in would not have been looking out for that one, but Felipe Massa then driving to save his Ferrari career, as far as I'm concerned, in terms of keeping that seat up there in 2nd place.
Maldonado and Gutierrez having an epic battle there through the Curva Grande, and Maldonado has to stay behind the Mexican at the moment. This is the battle for 14th and 15th place in a race that is still led by Sebastian Vettel. He was 1.1 seconds clear of Felipe Massa at the end of the first lap, but a blinding start from Massa going from 4th up into 2nd place. Mark Webber keeps 3rd place. Fernando Alonso harrying him and chasing him behind. Then comes Hülkenberg and Rosberg and Perez and Daniel Ricciardo ahead of Lewis Hamilton.
Kimi Raikkonen couldn't stop seeing the checkered flag, scoring points, being on the podium, and now 2 weeks in succession he's ended up with a problem. Ferrari's got good straight line speed. They've improved the Red Bull in that respect. Webber's going to have to stay left and make him go the long way round, which he does. But he's got the right position then, and he just squeezes him gently out. And look at that. What's going to happen here? Alonso's done it. Alonso got the job done.
How? How was there room for that to happen and Mark Webber or Fernando Alonso not to go off the track and into the curbs? Unbelievable stuff.
Brilliant there from, absolutely brilliant from Alonso.
Concentrate on our race now, concentrate on our race, this is good.
And we might just see it from the start replay here. I mentioned in the commentary Sergio Perez going on at the first chicane. It looked to me like Raikkonen might have gone into the back of Sergio Perez, which resulted in his damage. We'll see from this start replay as he locks up his brakes, and then yes, that's where the contact happened.
That was the pieces flying up in the air as well, plenty going. So where does Paul di Resta then?
It was at the second chicane
that
Di Resta then had his troubles. We can now see the start from the Lotus of Kimi Raikkonen.
Really low revs, but super start there for Raikkonen, making up a lot of ground. He'll be so disappointed that this start, which is dream ticket at the moment, he got a squeeze, now he's locked his brakes, and well, Perez pulled over. People do that on the motorway, don't they? Pull over in front of you, they pass you, and then brake hard.
Yeah, no indicators, of course, in Formula One cars.
Or brake lights.
Yeah, and often no indicators on the motorway either. You know what you're saying there, Martin. This is the view from Lewis Hamilton's car then. Just keeping himself out of trouble there on the hard compound tyre.
See, what happens is that takes air off your front wing as well, and takes away your reference point of where to brake. And so Perez actually sort of partly,
well, that was Di Resta getting the squeeze on Grosjean and Sutil with the cars either side, and Di Resta stuck in the middle, and well, this is what it looked like.
Just locked the front.
Locked up nowhere to go. Driver error?
Yeah, 100%. But he's on the radio telling us that.
Okay, Lewis, we cannot hear you. We cannot hear you. Just flick your wear switch to 2 and back to 1.
Radio problems, communication problems for Lewis Hamilton, and for Mercedes, he's down in 10th place at the moment, currently 9.5 seconds off the leader, Sebastian Vettel, and Rowan Atkinson getting a bit twitchy at the back of the Mercedes garage. There are some quite close battles going on here. Jenson Button starting to catch Lewis Hamilton as well, as we can see on our screen at the moment. He just pulls to the right-hand side, down into the second of the chicane, the De La Roja chicane.
Lewis on the hard compound, of course, he's unusual in the company that he's in, but he's about 9/10 off the leader's pace. So at the moment, those hard tyres not really biting into the tarmac too well.
And look, here goes Fernando Alonso. He's having a little look on Felipe Massa. That looks very easy for me, for Fernando Alonso, and certainly easier than it was to get past Mark Webber when he passed his teammate to move into second place.
Yeah, he was told to do that, wasn't he? He put up a 0 fight. Danny Ricciardo there trying to distract and annoy Nico Rosberg.
And look at this, Jean-Eric Verne and Lewis Hamilton almost having a bit of a bumping match there as they go through into the first of the Lesmos. Now Jenson Button once again behind Lewis Hamilton, harrying him all the way. Should have DRS available on this stretch down towards the Ascari chicane, but Lewis Hamilton should also have DRS available to use as a defence. Button's alongside him, it's wheel to wheel going into the chicane. Button has made it, and he's popped himself up into 10th place as Lewis Hamilton not having the pace to live with him, running the harder compound tyre. Still a long way to go here. We're only on lap 9 out of 53, and there is a chance of showers to come at any stage during this race as well, although Ted Kravitz, you don't need your brolly just yet.
No, it still looks dry. Team radio.
We're monitoring right front at all times. We know exactly where it's at. We know it's not good.
Oh dear. Now is that it's not good. Is that a tyre? Is that a brake? David, I'll keep on that immediately. It shouldn't be. Well, it could be either a tyre or brake.
Box, pit confirm, box,
oh.
Pit confirm, front right, slow puncture.
Oh, slow puncture. That's going to ruin his strategy, starting as he did on the hard tyres. There was really no need, but they wouldn't have known he was going to get a strategy, I suppose. So not a great day for Lewis Hamilton. Let's have a look at what Vettel does. I wouldn't be surprised to stick to swap to a 2-stop.
And hopefully Lewis's radio's working now.
Yeah, well,
because they had radio issues earlier on. They asked him to confirm that he was aware they were talking to him, but they can't hear him, but hopefully he can hear them. Well, Lewis didn't hear the call that time around. He's still on the racetrack. He did not box.
So he stays out, and his pace, Martin, was only just a couple of tenths. It was slower than Jenson Button. It has to be said he was 3 tenths.
Hanno fatto un altro reminder a Vettel sulla anteriore.
3 tenths slower than Roman Grosjean behind him, though. Hamilton continues on. My Italian lessons need to continue as well.
If they can see a deflation, they know it can suddenly change, and it does Lewis Hamilton pit this time around?
No.
He does not.
So is that radio not working, Martin, or is that driver thinking, actually, my pace is okay?
He's got a pit board, though, so hopefully if he's looking, he should have seen his pit board. Ted?
Yeah, if he's looking, there was a big burly mechanic going out.
And box, pit confirm, box, pit confirm.
Presumably he didn't press the pit confirm button. That's just to double check that the driver has understood the message. And so the mechanic was waving the pit board at Lewis to try and get his attention. Hope he noticed. We'll find out in a minute or so if he comes in. And the guys are out in the pit lane.
And one thing I do know is that this is the hardest circuit in Formula One to see a pit board, because there's a big gap, there's a big wide tarmac strip. You're doing 180 miles an hour. It's actually quite hard to see your pit board here.
Lewis Hamilton going to come in this time.
Yes.
Looks like it, doesn't it? So the message has been understood and has got through, and a couple of laps later than first planned.
There's the rip-off going off, that you have to be careful it doesn't go in your own airbox or your own radiator duct. Some talk that that's what caused Raikkonen's brake issue in Spa, was one of those going into his brake duct.
which is absolute pure chance that that happened. Medium compound tyres going on at Lewis Hamilton's Mercedes. Not a surprise at all, even if he is going to stop again. They now want him to be on the faster paced tyre rather than the tyre they thought initially would be the better race tyre. Where does Hamilton come back out onto the track down in 19th place behind Kimi Raikkonen?
Well, two more of Vettel's World Championship contenders then in the wars. He's still got Alonso 6 seconds behind him, mind you.
Jean-Eric Vergne, and he's out of this race. We've lost another car from this race.
It's unusual to lock your wheels that hard. It wasn't, was it? It was coming out of the right bank.
Toro Rosso out of the race. It moves Jenson Button up now into 10th. As he made his way through the smoke.
Webber always slower in the middle sector, just faster where he has the DRS.
So you're okay for the moment, Felipe, sad in 3rd place. What Alonso could do is go and see the engine boys at Maranello and say, come on, what have you got for me next year? It could be an engine formula next season with a change to the V6 turbos. It might be that the Ferrari engine is better than the the Renault engine. No one knows at the moment.
Nico, kill the tires now. Push like hell.
So Alonso's just done a string of personal bests, 4 consecutive ones, and he's keeping the gap at just over 6 seconds to Sebastian Vettel. Raikkonen's still doing some great lap times down there in 15th place.
And Hamilton right behind him. That's looks a bit slow from Romain Grosjean. 5.6 seconds stationary, which will push his pit lane lost time over the 26-second mark, 27 seconds. You lose so much time for a pit stop here, you know, because of the speed of the cars going down the main straight.
You're doing 50 miles an hour while the racetrack's in the same part of the racetrack where it's 200 miles an hour just over the other side of the wall.
That's why they try for the one stopper.
Okay, Jenson, Grosjean's had a poor pit stop. Checo will be in this lap. We need to go past once more. We need it now.
So Button being given the come on and the push by his race engineer, as Hulkenberg was too, and Webber still chasing down Felipe Massa. Meanwhile, out in front, Sebastian Vettel about to cross the line once more, and the gap between himself and Fernando Alonso was 5.8 seconds, now 5.7 seconds. So Alonso closing, but not by as much on lap 21. You see there how Alonso has slowly but surely been making...
Correction, we're going to box this lap,
Late change from McLaren. They've obviously found a better gap to put him back out into, Martin.
Yep, fair enough. A lot of clever people here at the circuit, back at the factory, working on that. And there he is.
So Button pits from 9th.
A boxing stop has taken place.
And will come out behind Kimi Raikkonen, but will he come out in front of Lewis Hamilton? Is that the gap that they were looking for, to get Jenson out? No, he doesn't quite make it out of the pits in front of Lewis Hamilton. He just goes through your picture there.
They sound really coarse, don't they, the engines, when they're on the overrun into the corners.
You see there why he couldn't get out ahead of Lewis Hamilton. He just set the new fastest lap of the race.
Box, Daniel, box. Push now.
And they're all now starting to follow the lead. Ricciardo and Perez pit at exactly the same time. So over to the mechanics, see how quickly they can get the boys changed and back out again. Hard compound tyres going on Perez McLaren. Same hard compound tyres going on Ricciardo's Toro Rosso, and he comes out ahead of Perez, who actually had quite a slow stop there, 4.5 seconds.
It didn't look that slow, did it?
Ted, down to you.
Front right, I'm afraid, was a little slow getting the gun changed into the do-up mode and then get on. But yeah, I lost a second or two.
And that is crucial for Sergio Perez, because Jenson Button is now ahead of his teammate on the track. That slow stop for Perez has cost him a place. Button goes past, and he's the one now chasing Ricciardo.
And he's currently saying, "You beauty." He's happy with that one to be ahead of his teammate.
Gil Bianchi also pits from 20th place in the Marussia. No signs at the moment of our leaders.
Box.
Until now, Sebastian Vettel gets the call to come on in. Now, do Ferrari respond and pit Alonso at the same time, or do they keep him out?
The Kimster shaping up there as Vettel pits onto the back of Valtteri Bottas's car, and they're going to use that window of opportunity.
Box, Mark, box.
Stack the Red Bulls.
Yeah, and Alonso did carry on. Decent time for the pit stop for Sebastian Vettel, and for Mark Webber it seemed to run pretty much like clockwork as well.
Great shot. What a great camera angle that was.
Just fabulous. I'd like to know what the stationary time was. Look, only a 1/10 of a second slower on the second pit stop from the first. That was good work indeed. He comes out behind Maldonado and ahead there of Kimi Raikkonen in the Lotus, who of course stopped after the first lap. Not really racing Mark Webber, but Webber and Red Bull certainly would not want to have been behind if they could avoid it. That Lotus, down to you, Ted.
Rimaniamo calmi, mentre facciamo dei verdi.
Esatto, spingiamo adesso, stiamo calmi.
Coming in? Not coming in?
A lot of understeer on the way into Parabolica. He's carrying on. We used to come in, before speed limits, we used to come in the pit lane at approaching 200 miles an hour. Lunacy. I don't know why we did it, how we did it. We were absolutely, totally unlimited into that pit lane as Massa brings his down to just 80 kilometers per hour, 50 miles an hour. He's gone a little bit past his marks, but not too bad.
I could be wrong, Martin, because my Italian, as you know, is not brilliant. But Fernando Alonso talking about Verdi, which, you know, is either his choice in classical music or he's talking green. I'm going green. I'm setting personal best. Are Ferrari saying, you know, box, do you want to come in? Is Fernando Alonso saying, no, what's the point? I'm still got the pace. I'm setting my personal best times. Leave me out there for a while. There's Webber ahead of Massa now. And there's Hulkenberg just getting in to the first chicane ahead of Bottas after his pit stop as well. So Mark Webber, by coming in a lap earlier than Felipe Massa, has now moved himself ahead of the Ferrari to 5th place.
Nico Hulkenberg will temporarily hate himself for the flat spot he's now got on that left front. He's got to live with for the rest of the afternoon. But I have to say, Hamilton's pace is bringing him back into the action. Certainly, he's up there looking quite close to Hulkenberg as well.
He sets himself up on Bottas into the Ascari chicane. Trouble for Hamilton, Martin. He stopped on lap 13. He's not going to do 40 laps, is he?
No. He'll be quick at the end of the race.
Sebastian, this is more than we need. Alonso is still out there. He's going to have fresher tyres. You need to save your tyres.
Because it could come down to the last few laps as Fernando Alonso now pits after 27 laps of this race. Harder compound tyres then going on, so he can do the one-stop strategy. Doesn't need to pit again for fresher tyres. Pit stop time exactly the same as Sebastian Vettel's, who now moves back into the lead of this Italian Grand Prix, and Alonso comes back out onto the track in 2nd place.
So just confirm, Nico, it'll be important to look after them now, and we expect you to be fighting at the end of the race with the cars in front. Podium position chance.
Wow. So you might not want to fight too long with your teammate Lewis Hamilton here.
He's defending hard. Yeah. Now he's come back to the middle of the track. He left in the car's width. He knows exactly how wide the car is. It's 1.8 metres and it's identical to his. But Lewis Hamilton decided to take it. Remember, we were at the Sky.
Remember, we need to get to the end on this set. We need to finish the race on this set of tyres. So be sensible.
Yeah. Maybe all are just a little bit worried then about the wear rate on these hard compound tyres between now and the end of the race. And the gap out in front that was, before the round of pit stops, 4 seconds between Alonso and Vettel is now 10.3 seconds in Sebastian Vettel's favour.
Well, they've got this far on a set of used mediums. I don't know why they're all so concerned about the hards to the end of the race.
Like you, I'm just scratching my head a little bit on that one. But it seems a logical conclusion from what's happened.
They're all saying the same thing, aren't they?
Felipe Massa nearly 2 seconds back in 4th. Kimi Raikkonen in 5th at the moment. There he is, ahead of Nico Hülkenberg, who on a fresher set of tyres has been chasing Kimi for the last couple of laps. Lewis Hamilton runs in 7th, but you'd imagine he's going to have to stop once again because of his early pit stop, as we ride on board now with Nico Hülkenberg behind Hamilton. Of course, his teammate Nico Rosberg, then Daniel Ricciardo, and Jenson Button completing the top 10, and Button right on Ricciardo's tail at the moment, setting personal best times in the last lap, the Toro Rosso and the McLaren as well.
Catch a look at Lewis Hamilton's lap time there.
Oh, 1:27.3, fastest lap of all. Raikkonen a little slow by modern day standards in terms of his pit stop. I think Nico Hülkenberg has caught a little look at Lewis Hamilton's last lap time. He certainly caught a look at the Mercedes behind him. Hülkenberg on the left, Hamilton on the right of your screen. Hamilton tries to go around the outside at the Della Roggia chicane. Isn't going to get out that time, but Hamilton had used his allocation of curves. Hülkenberg defends with all his might. Hamilton gains, he gains, he gains. He now has to switch to the outside. Good defensive driving there by Nico Hülkenberg, but is it enough? He's forcing Lewis Hamilton to work hard, certainly, to try and get past, and he can't do it. Hamilton, once again, Hülkenberg keeps himself ahead. Now he dives down the inside at Curva Grande. Hamilton gets the job done. And, well, you had the commentary overtaking Masterclass with him last night, Martin. Did he mention that move on the inside at Curva Grande?
He showed us the one down into the first chicane, and we did talk about that one through Curva Grande. It was a good move. They got better traction on the way out of the chicane. He's on. Hülkenberg, I think, got dangerously close to a double move in defence, which is against the rules. But in any event, Hamilton's got the move done.
And he puts himself now into 5th place. Trading best times there.
We think you can go quicker through Ascari.
At the moment, Esteban Gutierrez running down in 12th place as we end another lap, and we watch Sergio Perez trying to chase after his teammate, but they both got DRS. And they're neither really making the impression, the McLaren there behind the Toro Rosso, that they would want, and Jenson Button even locks up a little bit going into the chicane.
Last lap time perfectly on target. Last lap time perfectly on target. 20 laps to go, Nico.
Nico Hülkenberg being encouraged along by Francesco Nossi, the race engineer on the pit radio. And we have lost, of course, Paul di Resta on the first lap, locking up and making contact with Romain Grosjean and the second chicane. And the stewards will be looking at that, and all going on. Nico Rosberg at the first chicane there. Just chasing down Nico Hülkenberg a little bit too hard.
So box, 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 pit confirm, box, box, pit confirm.
And Lewis Hamilton...
As he's done another fastest lap of the race at that point, just before he discards those tyres.
Well, he certainly isn't coming in, Martin. He's gone on for another lap. He's in the first chicane at the moment. Well, the only reason you box him now is to slot him into a decent gap. There goes Grosjean on Perez, under braking Grosjean that much later. Perez sees him coming, then has to take avoiding action. Romain Grosjean puts himself up into 10th place.
No flying carbon fibre there between Perez and Grosjean.
Yeah, decent move. Romain Grosjean on Sergio Perez.
Jetson, there is some traffic ahead, Chilton and Bianchi. Could be an opportunity.
Yeah, maybe look to catch Ricciardo off guard. If Hamilton's carrying on, is that just because he's setting a faster time and the crew say, well, look, you might as well stay out there, or has he still got radio problems?
I would have thought radio problems. And this then, well, that's the second time.
We saw Rosberg go before, didn't we? And then
the Merc struggling to slow down. And this is the move by Romain Grosjean. Perez gave him plenty of space. He took it, tried to brave it out around the outside. Early doors realised that wasn't going to work. Yeah. Lewis Hamilton pits despite doing the fastest lap of the race. How frustrating is that? He still had so much grip and speed. Pity they didn't show quite this much in qualifying, isn't it? Another car that would have been right in the action.
Absolutely. He had that damage to the floor, lost 0.6 of a second on the lap, and that was even before he got hampered by Adrian Sutil. And who's that going down the straight? Kimi Raikkonen. So Lewis Hamilton once again comes out of the pits behind Kimi Raikkonen. And
I hate days like that. You fall to the back, You keep passing people, you're having a great day, and still your position is nowhere.
Yeah, Mark Webber just looking at that front right-hand side of his front wing, Martin, as he chases down Fernando Alonso. It's dragging along the floor at times.
Yeah, we've seen the Red Bull, though, still going just fine with bits and pieces hanging off. Well, usually Mark Webber's front wing, isn't it? But it seems as if they can adjust the balance of the car.
Are we still thinking plan A? Are we still thinking plan A? Yes, Jensen, plan A. People have been doing 25 to 27 laps on these tyres, no problem.
We have an issue. We need to short shift in low gears, exit of turn 2.
Oh dear, for a man who's already had a KERS issue at the start of this weekend.
Oh, that's the one where you jump over the curve. That's not turn 2, that's chicane 2. But so, in other words, don't put too much torque through the transmission.
And of course they looked into the gearbox, didn't they, at Red Bull, but that was at the top end of 5th, 6th and 7th gears they were looking at on that occasion. So they're allowed to do if there's a reliability problem going into the race without taking a penalty.
Not flat through the middle of the Ascari chicane, especially in the turbulent air of that Ferrari.
It's not normally a gremlin that fixes itself very easily. Not quite ready for Guido van der Garde down at Caterham. As back we go to the battle between Alonso and Webber, and the short shifting Mark Webber has shifted 0.3 of a second quicker on that last lap.
Young Mr. Vettel cleaning up the championships.
And look, there's the Caterham back marker there. The Force India and Adrian Sutil and Esteban Gutierrez having a nice little duel going into the Parabolica. Sutil getting himself ahead of the Mexican. Meanwhile, you mentioned Kimi Raikkonen slicing his way through the field. There he goes with Lewis Hamilton just a couple of cars behind as well in hot pursuit. And there he is, back markers keeping out of the way. Jules Bianchi on that particular occasion, and when they move offline they pick up all the bits of rubber or the marbles, it gets on their tyres and it slows their pace down even further.
Okay, Mark, it's gear 2 to 3. We need to short shift.
That must be at the enormous low corners, I'd have thought.
Hamilton has a look on Gutierrez into the De La Roggia chicane. No way past on that occasion. Gutierrez plants the car on the racing line through the first of the Lesmos. Hamilton just maybe hanging back a touch, ready now to attack using DRS, but Gutierrez might just have a little bit of DRS benefit himself just ahead. Ted, down to you.
Short shift into 5 and into 6 only on red lights.
And Sebastian Vettel is being told to short shift as well, but it's not 2 to 3 with him, it's 5 to 6.
Oh dear, okay, so continuing gearbox trouble. We thought this would happen, and the gearbox was new on Saturday morning, so managed to do the laps they did, 20-odd laps in free practice 3. Oh, David?
Here goes Lewis Hamilton on Esteban Gutierrez using DRS down the straight, whilst Adrian Sutil and Kimi Raikkonen have their own personal little tussle that Raikkonen just loses out on for the time being. Hamilton puts himself now up into 13th place, Raikkonen 12th, Sutil 11th, and as we see it again, Martin.
Yeah, there's the DRS line. Open it goes, past he goes.
So Ted, you can finish. Ted had finished. And he's off to inspect and keep an ear out for what's happening with Red Bull. Ted, come back in again.
Hello, David. Yes, sorry, a little bit of technical gremlins there. Yeah, just explain that they don't get a gearbox penalty because they can prove evident damage to those gears and replace them. So they will be concerned about that at Red Bull. Look how much that rear wing wobbles. I haven't seen that on the Mercedes.
We got 3 laps of fuel 11, 3 laps of fuel 11. Use them to defend when you need them.
Raikkonen passes Adrian Sutil into the Parabolica. Adrian Sutil now ahead of Lewis Hamilton as the Parabolica. It's deja vu from yesterday, but this time Adrian Sutil isn't slacking, but I don't think he's going as fast as Lewis Hamilton is down the main straight. Hamilton's getting a really good tow behind the Force India, which has been one of the slower cars in a straight line, but it's fast enough on this occasion to keep ahead of the Mercedes. Sutil in 12th, Hamilton in 13th, Raikkonen in 11th, can now start to pull away and Hamilton has already passed Esteban Gutierrez on the inside of the Curva Grande. This time he's going around the outside of Adrian Sutil underneath the bridge. We now see Lewis Hamilton has passed the Force India, and he pops himself into 12th place.
And Grosjean has passed Jenson Button as well. While all that was going on, Grosjean up into 8th place. So Raikkonen 11th, Hamilton 12th. They're on the march. Next victim then for Raikkonen will be Sergio Perez, and then Jenson Button, 3-4 seconds up the road.
Okay, Mark, I know we're fighting, but we need to short shift gear 2 to gear 3. You must short shift gear 2 to gear 3 to finish the race.
In other words, don't wait for those lights to come on. Just as soon as you've got a little bit of forward movement, get it into 3rd.
So hopefully we'll stay on board a little bit here. You've got the green lights, the red lights, and the blue lights, and you normally change on the blue, but
there you go.
Been told to change Sebastian Vettel on the red, wasn't he? And Mark even before that.
Yeah, well, Mark pulled it really early into 3rd gear there. There's only 3rd gauge with the 2nd to 3rd change, which he did very early indeed. It just dulls the performance. Let's see if he does it again here.
The trouble is he's fighting away with Fernando Alonso there, and I think he feels that Alonso is gettable.
Yeah.
I don't think that this is completely over, this race, by any stretch of the imagination.
Come on, boys, give us a race. Stick it at the inside, Mark.
And look, here's a great scrap.
Do not use overtake button out of parabolica. We are flattening the battery.
Wow.
Kerr's problem for Kimi Raikkonen. This will be music to the ears of Lewis Hamilton. Down towards the 2nd chicane we go. This is a scrap that you think should be for the podium places. This afternoon it's for 11th and for 12th.
But if he passes him, I think he's got a chance. They've got a very good chance to get up to Ricciardo in 7th, these two, unless they lose a lot of time fighting each other. There they are, just up the road. The DRS, and there it is open now, and Kimi sees it, has to defend. Surely Lewis will be breezing down the outside. Kimi's going to come back up the inside though.
Going to be tight, this one. And Hamilton just has to back out of it as Kimi Raikkonen takes and claims that 11th place once more. He'd made the one move to the right-hand side. He couldn't go back to the left. Hamilton spotted his chance. He just couldn't get it done. Terrific little scrap, this.
What are they doing? They're still pulling in as well, though. They're still comfortably pulling in, despite squabbling, the two McLarens.
7/10 in the middle sector you just took out of him. Come on, 7/10 in the middle sector. Go mixture P6. Come on, boy.
And that's Felipe Massa gaining on Mark Webber as well.
Full beans, give it full beans. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for your patience. I think you'll be rewarded.
As I said at the start, this is the last time we'll have the V8s at the Temple of Speed. Let's put the foot flat to the floor and let's see what we've got. As Hamilton and Raikkonen scrapping again. Perez has a little look on Jenson Button. That doesn't work. Hamilton now tries to go round the outside. No way through there for Lewis Hamilton. Kimi Raikkonen just claims it, but with better traction out of that chicane, he gets the job done round the outside of the Curva Grande.
He was always going to get a much better run out of that corner. He set him up a treat and then just ran high and got on the throttle nice and early, using his curves as well. So now it'll be Hamilton who gets first shot at the McLarens.
Perez in front, because he might need that to help him defend back against Raikkonen as they get towards the Ascari.
So using his brain there, Lewis, he just knew that Kimi was out of position on the way in, would be out of position in the middle and the exit. Kimi very fairly gave him plenty of racing room, and off he goes.
Round of applause from the Mercedes team. And let's see what's going to happen here. Sergio Perez can now see Hamilton getting ever closer to him. Into the parabolica we go. Perez shuts the door on any particular move there. We saw Adrian Sutil get down on the inside on Gutierrez. Now we can get down the straight and accelerate up towards 200 miles an hour. Hamilton pulls over, as you can see, to the right-hand side. Perez can't defend, even though he's got DRS himself. Hamilton gets the job done. The back marker of the Caterham now gets involved in the action. Charles Pic there in the Caterham, and Hamilton and Perez move their way around the outside.
Next up, his old teammate Jenson Button. It still feels slightly weird to see Lewis hunting down McLarens, doesn't it?
Try to protect the front under braking. Protect the fronts under braking.
So not just short shifting problems for Sebastian Vettel, but luckily he's still got that very nice buffer of 8.3 seconds with 3 laps remaining. Rocky urging caution. Nico Rosberg has just set the fastest lap of the race. He's now within a second of Nico Hülkenberg in front of him. Hamilton in 11th place is looking to get himself in the points in 10th place, looking to get himself ahead now of Jenson Button. Through the parabolica we go.
Going to be easy, I'd have thought.
Well, he did it to Perez. Now Button looks in his mirrors and he sees Hamilton going around the other side, and well done Jenson Button, lets him go past and then tries to get in the toe to help him into that chicane.
Almost a little dummy there from Lewis as to which side he was going to go. Oh, he's still in the race, isn't he?
Yeah, we haven't seen much of him, but Sebastian Vettel is still out in the lead and on his penultimate lap of this race.
Hamilton about to smash fastest lap.
As Kimi Raikkonen smashes past Sergio Perez, and Raikkonen puts himself now on the cusp of a points finish with Jenson Button in his sights going down the main straight. With DRS now fully open, we can see him gaining slightly, not enough on Jenson to warrant an overtake into that first chicane. And Ted, down to you.
Just a little information on Vettel's gearbox. It's on its 4th race, guys. So it was new in Germany, it did Hungary and Belgium, and now it's on its 4th race. So, yeah, starting to get to the end. But some worrying signs actually down here at McLaren. They're starting to clear the space in the garage. I hope this isn't for a retirement. I'm sure it's not. I think they're just preparing the garage to pack up.
Perez and Raikkonen, thanks Ted. Perez and Raikkonen having a great old go into the Della Roggia chicane. Thought Perez was going to do that for a minute there. Hamilton has now got to within a second of Romain Grosjean, just ahead of him.
Okay, Sebastian, last lap, just bring it home. We've got enough issues, just bring it home, okay?
Yeah, and his pulse might be nice and calm, but when he sets the fastest lap, or his fastest lap, Rocky's, I think, races a little bit.
He's a worrier, isn't he, Rocky? But that's why he's won so many World Championships with this man. So Hamilton then must now be within about 6, with 0.3 of a second. There he is. He's right on these two for the final lap. What a lap this is going to be for Lewis Hamilton.
Has Grosjean just ahead of him, has Ricciardo just ahead of Grosjean, and Lewis Hamilton just locks up but keeps under control. Can he take both cars on the final lap, of which Vettel has 2/3 to go before he can claim his 32nd win in Formula One? And that is Adrian Sutil. It's a double retirement, or is it just a tyre change? Probably a double retirement for Force India, as Hamilton has a go, locks up going into the chicane. Grosjean takes avoiding action. Hamilton cuts the corner. Grosjean claims the place back. I think that was right and proper, as Hamilton just didn't get it done in time to make the corner.
Let's let Ricciardo go free at the front. So I think that Hamilton will still have a good run at Grosjean, down into Parabolica or over the finish line.
As it's Sebastian Vettel that claims the Italian Grand Prix for a 3rd time. He extends his championship lead, and it was a very easy afternoon indeed. It's 32 wins in Formula One for Vettel. It's the same as Fernando Alonso, who comes home to finish in 2nd place, a podium for the 4th year in a row here at Monza. Mark Webber on the podium for the first time in his final Italian Grand Prix, ahead of Felipe Massa. Then it's Hülkenberg, it's Rosberg, it's Ricciardo, and then it's Grosjean and Hamilton still really going for it. Ricciardo takes the checkered flag. Grosjean comes home in 8th place, ahead of Lewis Hamilton, and it should be Jenson Button coming home to take 10th, just ahead of the flying Kimi Raikkonen. And he got to the end, to the checkered flag, did Mark Webber, but he didn't get much further than the end of the pit lane, and neither did Kimi Raikkonen as well. And you just wonder, was there that little fuel left in those cars at the end?
Knowing Adrian and Christian well, they were mighty relieved.
Fantastic, Seb. You've won the Italian Grand Prix again. Well done. Brilliant drive.
Good job, mate. Good job.
Yes! Very, very good, boys. Very good. Great race. Sorry for the lock-up in the first corner. Made the first stint a bit tricky. Thank you.